Press the bell icon on our YouTube app and never miss another video from SpotboyE.
Sir, G, what is the stress ball you're having? You don't need to have any stress.
No, my stress ball is my.
This is good. Look, it's a happy ball. Tell.
Stress me for you.
And 10 minutes start now.
Let's start. Oh my god.
Because
नहीं वो stopwatch मत
I
रखना.
know he has a 6 a.m. show.
नहीं I am aware of that. I am aware of that. बताइए. और कहाँ से शुरू करें?
पूछिए तो हम बताएं.
Start with the preparation. What did you? How did you get into this?
I took 3 weeks out. I went to my place in Goregaon, away from my friends, family. I isolated myself. I did a lot of homework. Did a lot of the prep process. There are no rules really. It's just a process of exploration. You need to find things that inspire you. Frankly, I could not relate to this character. The kind of the way he is, manipulative, greedy, ambitious. This is not like me at all. So it was not. There's no part of me that I could use. So I had to study, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because I created a foundation for the character that I took to set, that I could that Mr. Bhansali could use and play with. And he had a lot of ideas for the character. He was very hands-on this time, as opposed to our collaboration in Bajirao Mastani, where he was very hands-off. So it was a very fulfilling process. That prep process is my favorite time, apart from the actual shooting of the film, is when you actually are creating a character. You find the voice, you find the gait, you find the worldview, you kind of find the conviction, you kind of marinate in that character, work with the material. So there are various things I do that I learned from my theatre exercises that I employ in that period. And I usually don't go into a film without doing any prep. There's always some level of prep involved. It's different for every film, but for this it was a process of isolating myself and finding Alauddin Khilji.
Hands-on क्या था?
The inspiration for Alauddin
नहीं,
Khilji.
Bhansali was hands-on on this and hands-off on Bajirao.
On Bajirao Mastani, I sort of created the character, and even on set, I would sort of
improvise.
I would do what I felt that my homework on the character dictated, and Mr. Bhansali would work with that. This time I only created the foundation and allowed everything that was on set to come from him. So he is as much a creator of this character as I am.
Would you say this is the most difficult role so far?
It was difficult only because of the shooting process. There were certain delays in the shooting of the film, because of which my shooting happened at the end. My shooting happened all at once. So what was extremely difficult was to go from dance into action into an emotional scene. So my body was breaking. I shot over 40 days straight on a costume drama, which is unheard of. On a Bhansali film, usually after 6-8 days you get a break of 3 days to recuperate. Everybody is so exhausting, everybody needs a break, but it wasn't forthcoming. So the shooting process was difficult.
But don't you get tired? The way you are, I sometimes wonder.
I had to really dig deep, because at one point I thought I was having a meltdown. Like, my mind was pulp, my body was breaking, and I kept having to dig deeper and deeper and deeper in order to bring something in order. And I don't know what kept me going. I guess it was just seeing everybody, the whole team around me who had worked longer and harder than me, still at it, still putting their best foot forward and not compromising. I think even when my back was pinned to the wall, I somehow managed to find an extra gear.
But is it Ranveer always like this? Before going further into Padmaavat, is it because we see you with so much of deep diving into everything and doing so many quirky things, running, jumping? Don't you get exhausted? Sometimes when you see Virat Kohli or a Bhansali, you get into that intense.
Well, yes, I have a lot to give. I've got, my energy levels are high generally, but I don't think anything can prepare you for the shooting process of a Bhansali film. It is truly exhausting and draining at every level, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And you know, when there are new actors who are new to his process, it kind of shocks the whole system. But this time I was prepared to, at least I was somewhere or the other mentally prepared, knowing that this will take everything out of me, and at least I was prepared to give all of it.
Has he changed?
Well, it's like meeting three different directors on three different films. The first film was a romance, so he was in a different mode. The second film, like I said, it was he used a very hands-off approach. You know, I think he was happy with the character that I created, so he allowed me that free hand to do play Bajirao the way I had envisioned. But this time, even when I met him initially with regards to the character, I knew that he had a vision for the character. When we sat together for the first time on the character, I realized that his vision was different from mine. But since it's his vision, I had to get on his page, so I did, and I only created a foundation, and the rest of it is all him. I would say this is the most Mr. Bhansali has directed me.
You were the first one signed before Shahid and Deepika?
I'm not sure how it went, but I was apprehensive initially because I didn't immediately commit, given that it was such a big risk to play a villain at this stage of my career, such a dark character.
No redemption.
Yeah, it was not something I picked up immediately, but you know, Mr. Bhansali is my guru. He has shaped me into the artist that I am. He's contributed so much to my career, given me two of my biggest hits, and now hopefully the third. So
would you have taken Shahid?
So I did it for Mr. Bhansali.
Would you have taken the other role?
I would have taken any role, you know, honestly. It's a privilege to be an actor in Mr. Bhansali's film. I was told by my mentor, Mr. Aditya Chopra, that always remember that landing a part in a Bhansali film is an acquisition for any actor. And I always remember that, and as working with the man, I can vouch for that there is nobody quite like him in terms of a director's actor, an actor's director. He's the next level. The kind of spike in evolution, growth that you experience when working with him is unlike any other.
Would you agree that Deepika's role was very tough? Because I called her and said, you know, the emotion through eyes, because in that one sari you don't have to dance, you don't have to do adaएं, you don't have to go over the top. What is your take on that? Do you agree with me or do you disagree?
I think she was extremely effective, and I'm very proud of the entire ensemble of actors. I'm very thrilled that Jim Saad is getting so many compliments, you know, that so many people are talking about him.
Yeah.
And his work, because he was my suggestion. Yeah, I saw him in Girja and I said, sir, you must, for this part, consider this man, and he nailed his audition.
He nailed it.
And he got cast, and it's been one of the most delightful co-actor experiences that I've had.
I think even that Guru was very good.
He's full of ideas, he's full of energy. I was surprised by, you know, the amount that he contributes to a scene. I understand all too well, and I give him credit for making my performance look better. And yeah, I'm really thrilled for him and for us. You know, we were really I really enjoyed working with Jim, and now that people are talking so much about his and my track and his presence in the film, it's very heartening.
Would you have preferred to be a little more menacing?
Yeah, Mr. Bhansali had to curb my enthusiasm, but that's nothing new. He's always had to. If there's anybody who can control me, it's him. Because I'm an extremist, so I want to do extreme things and I do very high risk acting. I make very high risk decisions in my choices, high risk choices as an actor. And Mr. Bhansali has to kind of temper that extremist tendency in me. He's an extremist himself, but I find myself to be a little more. So he has to he takes what I bring and molds it to what he to kind of align with his vision.
I think he molds it to perfection, but you're an extremist also at dressing.
Yeah.
Your quirky dressing is, and you don't get away with it, but you get praises for it. Are you really like that? What is this whole? Sometimes skirt pehn liya,
it
kuch
really
bhi pehn
depends
liya.
on my mood. It's when I wear something that stands out, gets talked about, but I don't always wear that. I don't wear something quirky or something so-called quirky or so-called eccentric on a daily basis. It's just that maybe those things don't get noticed as much. But I dress according to my mood. Sometimes I'm dressed very normally. Sometimes I feel like wearing something exciting, so I wear it. I really follow my mood and express myself without any filter and express myself without the fear of judgment.
That's very good. And music, you think Ranveer thoda could have been better? I felt it that.
Well, I loved my song, and I loved shooting for it. As exhausting as it was.
The
Khali
one.
Wali, yeah. And I really loved the music. I cried when I heard Ek Dil Ek Jaan. And yeah, I really love the music personally.
Awards expecting?
I don't expect, once I've done the work, I don't expect anything. I don't expect karam kar, phal ki aasha mat kar. I've always imbibed that in my life. For me, I've always maintained that the process itself is the prize. So for me, just getting an opportunity to play a character like this, to do a third film on the trot with a great filmmaker like Mr. Bhansali is the prize itself. So for me, anything that comes over and above this is Sone Pe Suhaga.
Which was clearly his favorite. Any fourth one in the pipeline?
I hope so. I hope so.
And besides this now, Gully Boy, World Cup and Simba.
Yeah.
So
Exciting year coming up. Films that are vastly different from one another, coming on the back of each other. I'm going through a very rich phase in creatively. You know, I get to do work with Zoya, then go to the opposite end of the spectrum and work with Rohit Shetty. You know, so I'm getting to do Gully Boy, which is such a wonderful story about the flourishing hip hop scene. You know, that's the background for the film. I feel so strongly about that scene, and I wish to champion the cause and do my bit to grow and develop.
What you feel strongly about it?
You know, there was a musical movement that happened in Harlem and Brooklyn in the late 80s, early 90s, where these young people were writing poetry to rhythm, and it became hip hop. And in that potent lyrical writing of theirs was social commentary around comments on the world around them. You know, they were writing lyrics that were affecting social change. And that exact same thing is happening today in Mumbai, out of the streets of Mumbai, you know, where they're raising issues, they're doing social commentary in their writing and drawing attention to the difficult life around them. You know, there's a very disenfranchised lot finding their expression through music, breaking through as recording artists. I think it's a beautiful underdog story, and I'm only too happy to be a part of it.
World Cup के टाइम तो पैदा भी नहीं होंगे आप.
हाँ, और मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था when Kabir said he's making a film. I said, well, finally somebody's making a film. But how great that story is, I found out only after he narrated the script. I didn't know that cricket was not cricket before 1983. That 1983 win is what made cricket big in India, and that. You know, there was such underdogs that nobody believed in them. People were telling them, "Bhaiya, why are you even trying?" And then they went on to win the ultimate prize. You know, those little anecdotes of theirs are so heartwarming, human stories. That ticket book करी हुई थी कि पहले राउंड के बाद आउट हो जाएंगे and then we'll go home. They were winning. They had to cancel their tickets. अभी वो cancellation के लिए पैसे नहीं है, कोई उनको पैसे दे नहीं रहा है. किट लेना है तो एक्स्ट्रा बैगेज के लिए पैसे देने के लिए काउंटर पे है नहीं. काउंटर वाला बोल रहा है तुम हॉकी टीम थोड़ी हो कि तुमको जाने देंगे फ्री में. So these little stories that add up to such an incredible triumph that, you know, it's one of perhaps the greatest sporting stories to come out of our
पैसे नहीं है मतलब.
मैं मधु मंटेना को बोल रहा था कि how lucky he is, how lucky we are that we are the chosen ones who get to tell this story on celluloid, immortalize this story on celluloid. So it's going to be a big challenge to become Kapil Dev.
You're meeting him?
You know, I have met him. He's a most wonderful, warm man, such a loved hero. It's going to be a big challenge to get that speech pattern, that physicality, that bowling action. So I think some really big and exciting challenges.
Is he going to be on the set?
I'm not sure, but yeah, he's definitely very much a part of the filmmaking process.
And Rohit Shetty is just like you, energetic.
Rohit Shetty and I, you know, I'm very happy to see the excitement level in the audiences to see us coming together. And these are the types of films him and I have both grown up on. These are the types of films that are home territory for me, home territory for him. You know, these films are in my blood, mainstream masala entertainers. And I feel like I'm very lucky to work with him, but I've also earned my luck. You know, I've created my own luck. If I have to give myself credit for it, I've been honest in my work, and I've achieved enough to earn the right to be a Rohit Shetty leading man. And I'm honored that he selected me. I'm privileged to be working with him. And I really think him and I work extremely well together. We have a great combination, and I'm hoping to create some magic.
Every movie you got one step, just two questions. Every movie you got one step ahead. Are you raising your market price now? The Ranveer Singh you have become?
I think Padmaavat has just released, and I haven't really sat at length with my team to discuss these sorts of things. Not that they are my main concerns in life in any case. I don't do films for money. I do it because I love it. So these are all concerns of the people who are concerned with the financial side of my work, but not my immediate concerns for sure.
Last question. That dance which you have done,
Yeah.
ये किसका है? कहाँ से आया?
Ganesh Master ji and me are collaborating on a Bhansali film for the third time. He did
That
Tatar
movement,
Tatar,
you know.
then Malhari, and then Khali. So all credit to Ganesh Master ji and to Sanjay sir.
That particular step I'm seeing, जो
कौन सा वाला?
वो जो हम हाथ ऐसे कर दिए थे नहीं,
कौन से वाले गाने में?
अरे हर जगह 2-2 मिनट के बाद आप कर रहे थे पिक्चर में, like that.
वो तो खली वली was a difficult shoot, क्योंकि I think day 37 या कुछ ऐसे पे शुरू किया था, तो मैं काफ़ी it was a very difficult shoot for me physically, but it was worth it when I see.
Even when you do that, when you're sitting in the bathtub and
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
That was freestyle actually. Mr. Bhansali was trying to get me to do something. Finally, he said, "Just think, Jim Morrison from The Doors." From The Doors, and boom, I got it. He was like, he gave me a 1,000 rupee note that day because he was so happy.